What's the racket, yellow jacket? At Brookhaunts you roam. You took the lives of all those girls, but now I'm here and home.
Hello everybody, it's Josie here. I am going to be doing a book review today on a book that I just love. And this is a book that clearly I've read later in the year. It was an anticipated read for me for 2020, and man, I was not disappointed. And the book that I'm going to be talking about today is Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M Danforth. Now, I've got my girl school top on and thought, you know, I'd match the look of the book today. So this book, without me matching the look, is, like I said, one of the most anticipated books for me. Emily M Danforth, for those of you that don't know, wrote The Miseducation of Cameron Post, and I adored that. That book was made into a film that was amazing as well. And I've had some real love for The Miseducation of Cameron Post ever since. And I've been waiting for a new book by Emily, and this is it. So this takes a slightly different direction, which I loved. So what is Plain Bad Heroines about? So it is a book that has dual timelines. So we're in the past, we're in the current day, and we're telling the story of a bunch of girls and women. And it focuses on a group of sapphic characters. So these are girls that are like girls. And like I said, it tells the past story of what happened in the past, about what the situation was, but then also the current day story. It also centers around a film that is being made and a book. So the kind of the location or the backdrop, and I would say that this place is actually a character in the book, is Brookhaunts. It's a school, and back in the day it was a school for young ladies, and it's been owned by a family, the Brookhaunts family. And I'm saying Brookhaunts because that's how the author of the book, the person that's telling us the story, the narrator in the book, tells us to say it. And haunt, there's hauntings going on there, so Brookhaunts. And it, so at the time, so in the backstory, there were 3 girls that died at the school. And they died in different circumstances, but one of the girls, and very central to the plot, is this lovely creature over here, this wasp, the yellow jacket that stung one of the, or 2 of the first girls that died. And these 2 girls were in a relationship, and one of the families found out and they weren't happy. Also central to this plot, there's a lot going on, stay with me, is a book that was written by a rather precocious woman that talked about lady love. And again, back in the day, this was very scandalous. And of course, the girls in the school, they love it, right? They picked it up, they're reading it, but it feels like there's almost like a curse on this book. Then if we go to present day, the story of Brookhaunts has been written by Meredith, who is this kind of prodigy writer. She was only 16 when she wrote this book, and it's basically the novelization of what happened at the school back in the day and the story of these girls, and this kind of love affair that they had and their demise. And then we have a kind of a third plot line where we're actually now making a movie based on Meredith's book. So you have 2 present day actresses, young Hollywood actresses in their early 20s. Both are queer, lesbian, bisexual. I think one of them's more lesbian, the other one, they're queer. And so is Meredith. And pretty much the whole cast is queer in this book, which is great. And they are making this film based on the book at the school. And there's also these kind of rumblings that there might be a curse at this estate. There's, you know, these weird kind of goings on. So it has so many things going on, which when I say them, verbal diarrhea them out there, it might sound confusing, but actually it really all comes together. And what I'm trying to do is also not give away too much of the plot while I'm sort of telling you what's happening. But it is just glorious. So you have, like I said, you have this kind of exploration of queerness across the generations, which is really, really interesting. It's one of those books, there's not an emphasis on coming out either, which is great. There is romance, but it's more background romance. It's, I would say, more about the friendships and kind of the process of the movie and what happened in the past, and you have this relationship in the past, but you know, there's so much more to it, so I wouldn't call it a straight up romance, which is great. I love the aspects of making the film. I've realized that it's something that I adore in books. And I think if you liked, I'm going to do a whole if you liked video, but if you liked, no, I'm going to leave it. If you like Lena LaCour's Everything Leads to You, I think you'll like Plain Bad Heroines. And it's just so much fun to kind of see pull the curtain back a little bit and see how the movie making industry works as well, kind of the Hollywood industry. Then you have this kind of gothic, haunted place. Like I said, Brooke Haunts is, to me, a character in this book. And it kind of ties in with, again, another genre that I love is kind of that gothic horror romance type of thing, where you've got like a haunted house and you don't know whether things are really happening or they're not. You've got this element of these yellow jackets. It just has so many wonderful, wonderful things, and it just kind of intertwines and weaves. And the writing style, again, you may either love it or hate it. You'd have to get used to the writing style. It's kind of breaking the third wall, I would say, but also someone is telling you the story and they're kind of talking to you, the narrator's talking to you, and it's wickedly funny. There's some really funny bits. There's footnotes. I know some people, that I love Nevernight, but I know some people complain about the footnotes, but they're not too bad in this, but you get some footnotes that kind of give you some more information, which most of the time just made me laugh and reminded me a little bit of Nevernight, not in the story, but in the footnotes and some of the facts and bits that were given to you there, and they just made me giggle. Yeah, it has like a wicked sense of humour. There's a lot of tongue in cheek, there's sending up of things, but also you've kind of got that kind of creepy vibe in the background. It's like, what's going on there? And then you've obviously got the serious side of these girls and their relationships, particularly in the past, and how that was viewed and how that wasn't okay and you had to hide it. I loved it. I can see this as a film as well, which is cool, because you'd be like a film of a book about making a film about a book. This is very meta already, but that would be like super, super, super meta. But I just loved it. I loved it so much. I loved it so much that this is the American version, and because for some reason it's being released in America now, and then I think it only gets released here in the UK in either February or March, and I was like, there is no way, I am waiting another, 4 months to read this book. So I got the American. I also really like the American cover. This black and red is my jam. I love anything. I've noticed I buy so many covers that are black and red. It must be like, yeah, look at them, and I'm like, black and red, I must get it. So I got this. Although the UK cover is really cool as well. It's kind of bright orange and pink, bright yellow and pink, and it's going to be a hardcover. So I'm telling you now, I will also be purchasing the UK version. You'll probably see it on the channel again. What I also love about this book is there are illustrations. So the illustrations are by Sarah Lautman. And so, I mean, it just starts off with, where is it? This Book Belongs To, which just reminds me kind of old school of when you used to have those book plates and be like, this book belongs to. Then you have a map of Brooke Haunts. And then in between you have these gorgeous, gorgeous illustrations. And I'll see if I can find, I can see it peeking out. There you go. So throughout the book you have that, and it's just beautiful. You have illustrations. And like I said, it has just a wicked sense of humour, even just the titles of some of the chapters, some of the conversations, the way the heroines relate, the whole title of the book. It's just delightful in so many ways. It's delightful from a kind of slightly spooky, gothic kind of way. It's delightful from a sapphic way. It's delightful from a diversity in kind of horror way. It's delightful from dark humour and just plot and storyline. It's just so delightful. It's delightful, and it is in my top books of the year, without a doubt. So that's Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M Danforth. If you like any of those things, I would recommend reading it. If you have read it, let me know what you think. And yeah, thank you all for listening. I will speak to you all again very soon. Stay well and safe. Bye.